Hello to the atmosphere, the metasphere, the
How y'all doing?
Hello.
interwebs. How's everybody doing?
That pretty much covers everybody, right?
Right? Right. The
Question.
interweb is like a catch-all. But okay, real early segue. Think about it. Think about it. What about when we're doing this in VR?
I'm not doing this in the metaverse. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
So
You
you don't
can't
want
make me. I mean, you probably could make me. It wouldn't be terrible. I'd be
to wait.
freaked out.
That would be so cool though. Right? Think about it. Think about having like our hallway. Think about actually being able to have the hallway track and like a virtual reality hallway.
Right.
Think about that. Imagine it. I see it. I see it happening. Somebody make it happen. Uh,
It's probably already happened. I think I saw the first blog podcast. I don't know. It's some sort of. I think it was a blog that was recorded in the metaverse, like less than a month ago.
wow.
So that was weird. But yeah, it's
See,
started already.
yep. It's only a matter of time. Uh, So cool. Well, thank you everybody for joining. And a special thank you to our guest, Ambily KK, who was a participant in our first hackathon. Like, this is our first hackathon. I mean, we had a hack day at after Chef Conf in the past, but this is like our first True Blue hackathon. And Ambily KK, you participated and won Best Implementation for your submission, which was Azure Compliant Checker for Chef Inspect and GitHub Access. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
We're
this is
going,
one of my favorites, like succinct ones, but I'll get into that later on. This is one of my. I keep mentioning this one in all of the other all the streams we've done about the hackathon. I keep mentioning this one, so
yep,
it's quite
yep.
interesting.
Yeah, Dan, you're one of our judges, so like, yeah, you got up close and personal. So I'm happy. I'm excited to hear your perspective as well. Um, so let's before we get into all of it, let's do our pre-flight checks. Pre-flight checks. If I can get my mouse to move over to the things. Okay, you are not following us on Twitter. What are you really doing, guys? Follow us on Twitter at Chef. It's easy to remember, easy to find us. And there you're going to be finding things like our live streams that go out every Tuesday and Thursday. You'll find webinars that are happening. You'll find planned outages, all types of our social info. Um, Also, follow Dan on Twitter. What do you post about, Dan?
Hang on, I'm just gonna reopen Twitter a second. Like, it's probably nothing. I'm turning to like I'm lurking a lot now.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I've been
you
talking
know,
about like
that's what I do
I,
too.
I, I've I've started to lurk a lot more, and like since I've uninstalled it from my phone, I'm so much less active on Twitter, which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you like you said last stream, you end up doom scrolling if you don't check yourself.
Yeah.
Ambly, you said you don't do Twitter much, right? You don't post much.
Yes, Twitter. I have a Twitter ID, but I'm not much active in Twitter. LinkedIn is my way of communication and collaboration with community. So I'm
Okay.
available in LinkedIn.
Yep. And here for everybody who is interested is Ambly's LinkedIn profile. So actually I'll go ahead and throw that in the chat at some point as well. Um, Also, you can follow me on Twitter too. Like I look
Yeah.
more lurking than posting, but I post about our live streams as well. And like, things that we're doing. You might see office hours posts. You might see, you know, pretty soon here I'm gonna start doing more technical things and it's gonna be pretty cool. So look out for that. And whether you are new or a veteran using Chef, you should be a part of our community Slack because it's inevitable. You're going to have a question. And where are you going to go to ask that question? You're going to go to community Slack because you'll probably be able to get some real time answers to your questions. Folks are on, to help, and you can hit either of us, Dan or I, up on, or me. I hate that how that works. Me, I, anyway. You can
Yeah.
you can hit either of us up on community Slack, and we'll be happy to help at least guide you to where you need to go. Right. Sometimes we may not have the answers directly to your questions, but we'll be able to point you in the right direction and make sure you get your questions answered.
I think the fun thing this week was CentOS 8 putting the Yum repo, the main CentOS Yum 8 repo,
Mm-hmm.
into the vault, which basically means they've end of life to end CentOS 8. I think it was December, and everyone was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah, CentOS 8 will last for a really long time." So usually, like CentOS, the major versions last for, I don't know. Initially, they said 10 years or 20 years or something, like 10 years at least. And then at the start of last year, they were like, "Nah, 2 will do, actually. 2 years. That'll be fine." And everyone was like, "Sorry, what?" So
What?
December rolled round and it became end of life, and I completely missed the notice, as has everybody else, basically. So that kind of blew up a little bit. It's fun. So
But
everyone testing it, like everybody's like, "Why doesn't this thing work?" And I'm like, "Well, you're using CentOS 8. It's end of life now." Didn't you know? Because I didn't know at the start of the week either. That was my Monday morning.
that is that's yeah. That's
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't know.
awesome to be
Oh my
able to
god.
have a community.
Yeah,
Right. Right. But it's awesome to be able to have a community come to with those type of problems, right? So
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
that's exactly why you go to community Slack.
And you could all complain about the CentOS 8's end of life policy together.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Discourse is our more forum style communication platform. So we have our community meeting notes that are posted on Discourse as well. You'll learn about releases, and you can, kind of do Stack Overflow style question and answers. And that's where our Discourse is. So let's get into our topic for the day. Ambily KK's banging project. Best implementation. Like, let's talk about you first. Ambily KK, you are a solution architect at Tata Consultancy Services. Let's talk to us about your background. Introduce yourself. Yeah, let's learn
Okay. So currently I'm driving as a solution architect in TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, and also doing some DevOps transformation areas. I'm a DevOps expert as well. But my journey started around 20 years before with our old and BB script, ASP, .NET, maybe the C++ era. Just
Wow.
started that era, and Windows Forms is bigger item that time. Windows Form
Hmm.
dragging that controls from toolbox to that form designer looks like we achieved something very heavy. Now everyone talks about AI and DevOps, but we started that era. Even I spent some time on COBOL. The COBOL, one comma will give you 100 errors, and we need to see where that comma is missed. So
I'm
I came
so
from that
sorry.
background.
I just like it still hangs around in places. COBOL. You're like, no one's using COBOL anymore. And you like open something up and you're like,
Right.
like why is there COBOL there? Like who didn't clean the COBOL up, please?
Right, exactly. But now, like Cobalt developers
Yeah,
are
I
demanding
started
200.
from that time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
$200 an
From
hour now.
there, the journey.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, from there, the journey taken into the first start with the Java, then Microsoft Stack. Around 5 years I spent on Java. After that, completely Microsoft Stack. starting from the .NET, the initial version, till now .NET Core. We are standing there, and a journey from a normal developer to the performance analyst, then to the program manager, different roles. It's a every IT field have their own roles: business analyst, due diligence, solution architect, pre-sales. Everything is handled now. In official, I am doing a solution architect with the DevOps driven transformation approaches. I do the business transformation as well as the people management transformation areas, and also an cloud architect. So it is certified cloud architect. That's a official area. And from a community angle, I'm a blogger and a mother. I published some of the books. The last book is on Azure DevOps. That is from A Press. Last December, we are able to publish that one. And I'm part of some or the other hackathons that will give me the kick, or still that coder mindset is there. So I enjoy doing the hackathons, which will give me a new area of learning as well as exploring new areas where we can go ahead next.
Awesome. Wow. So you are very well rounded. You come from a similar background to me. I'm a former .NET developer. So like
Great.
that was like where my career started. And then I moved into chef and started learning about DevOps and stuff. So like it's awesome. Like it's I
Great.
can definitely relate. Um, Tell us about what drove you to join our hackathon.
So as I mentioned, I'm trying some of the hackathons last year. Uh, Now so people are talking a lot about low code, no code platform kind of thing. So I
Mhm.
was just for learning purpose. I joined the Kriya Show hackathon. There is a Kriya Show is a low code platform. So I'm able to, within 3 weeks of time, I am able to understand what exactly the low-code platform looks like, how we
Mhm.
can leverage it. Till that time, no idea. And when I seen the Chef hackathon, for me, Chef means infrastructure, nothing else. So I hope
Mhm.
most of the people think that way. So initially, I thought, even though it's talks DevOps, no need to take a hack because it's just infrastructure provisioning. Then that new words came. Your hackathon defined chef habitat, chef automate. So I thought, okay, let me see what exactly these two, three items. Again, thought process is it is only infrastructure management provisioning. Then I understand that it's more than that. The inspect is actually interested me because of my previous experience in a product development. I was part of a product development. As you may know, the product development goes through some IP process. We need to protect our IP. So there's a longer process, lot of documentation, checks, audit, security, everything. And in that, compliance is one of the major thing. I remember I filled complaints in an Excel sheet, 150 questions for assure complaints. Then, as my product is deployed in AKS, another Excel sheet,
Uh
again,
huh.
yes or no, what exactly I configured.
Yeah.
It's a tedious job. It's a nightmare, actually, thinking about that. And when I see Chef Inspect, the way it's designed, I went to that dev security team who defines using Chef Inspect that Windows baseline, hardening rules, and everything. So I gone through that. It's really impressive work. And I know most of the people out there not aware of that. Even I was not aware of that. That's why I thought I will take my first step in Chef Inspect. I enjoyed it. I came up with, as I am targeting more on cloud, Azure based some of the checklists which I received from compliance.
Uh-oh, you broke up.
I'll blame the biscuit.
Oh, look, that
I
was
was
Try to
well, actually.
integrate my code, my compliance automation code with
Oh, Ambly, you might have to.
Um,
Ooh, can she hear us?
I don't know if she can. Uh-oh.
Oh no!
There,
Oh no, she's gone. She'll be back in a second. This is fine.
yeah, she'll be back.
I get to enjoy this hobnob slightly slower.
Right? That looks like
It's a good.
a biscuit.
I'm always eating. You gotta get some food in somewhere.
Right. And it's kind of, yeah.
Hmm.
Oh,
That's really frustrating because I was.
really?
It sounds like she was. She's obviously doing lots of cloud things at the moment, and she just picked the Azure cloud because I guess we've got one for AWS.
Mm-hmm.
And having nice inspec integration into the Azure cloud is great. It's there. All the packs are there, but how do you run it using GitHub Actions,
Right.
which her thing there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. So what did you think about it? Like being a judge? Like what was your favorite part of the
I
project?
think the simplicity of it, and it was just made it really easy to pick it up and use it. You're like, well, I'm just gonna take my inspect profiles and I'm gonna fire them at. Ooh, we're back.
We've got her back.
Sorry, I got
You're back. And
Ooh.
it's difficult to hear you.
Is it fine?
You sound like you're far away from the mic.
Is it fine now?
Nope, same. It's as if you're not using your mic on your headset. You might have to go into settings for audio.
I'm still blaming the biscuit. Whilst Amberly sorts her headset out a second, well, I'm just going to eat this because it's a good biscuit.
What kind of biscuit is it?
So it's an oat biscuit with some chocolate on top. It's good. It's good stuff. And also, a biscuit in the US isn't a biscuit.
That's true.
I'm like,
I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking when I think biscuits, I think fluffy, flaky, this kind of big biscuits that you put on
yeah.
a.
So you're like muffins. There's a kind of muffins for us, ish.
Mm-hmm.
Just
That you are able to hear
it's
me?
those little things when you get between American and English culture. You're like, sorry, we've got these like three words that are different, and we're talking about completely different things, like biscuits and gravy. Like Americans don't do gravy. I don't. I like that. This hurts my head. Ooh,
Oop, we lost her
I
again.
think her
And
headset is disagreeing with her.
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, yeah. No, so going back to the going back to Amberly's hackathon entry, it was how to use inspec. Well, it used inspec against Azure, and you gave it a few inputs, and it made sure that inspec was set up and ready to go for pointing out Azure. It was really really nice. And if you saw the code, you're like, well, there's not that much code there, but this just does what it says on the tin, and that's exactly what I was looking
Hmm.
for a hackathon because I didn't want anything. I mean, partially like some of the bigger hackathon entries were really really hard to judge because you're like, is it any good? I don't know. I'm going to have to spend 2 hours judging this.
Oh, that's true.
And then Amberly's, I was like, oh, I get this. I get the good. Like, I get how good this is.
Something is
Yes,
hearing me.
Amberly is back.
you are back, but let's see if you say something, please. Oh.
Yeah, I am able to hear you.
Yeah, we've got no mic gain off you. It's like you're.
Not
It's
able to hear.
like
Well, I can hear you, but it just seems like we. Can you hear her at all? I can hear her. It just seems like she's a little bit far away.
yeah.
But I think that.
Is it fine?
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
There we go. That's
that's
better.
better. Yep.
Okay, great. So got disconnected in the middle. So I was talking about the Chef Inspect, the way um, So I started with Chef Inspect because of my own compliance audit requirement. I gone through that Excel sheet based compliance audit.
Mm-hmm.
Then, as you know, all the Microsoft, at least the customers who are Microsoft technology stack, they are moving to more towards GitHub, and also the open source community is using GitHub a lot. When I try to connect my Chef Inspect based test with the GitHub pipeline, I want to do that as part of my pipeline itself instead of running someone sit and run the test, how I can integrate with my own application deployment. So I'm not able to see any kind of action built in which can integrate the Chef Inspect script. That's why I went ahead and created a custom action. It's now published in the GitHub marketplace. Anyone can use that one actually. So using that, I am able to integrate. So, and it gives a default thing also. Even before even you come up with a detailed test cases, I just integrated one of the test case where a cloud resource exists or not. That is part of the custom action itself. So that's a hackathon entry I made. I'm working on the second level of that. I felt it will be useful for at least someone like me who is working on the product area. Compliance automation is always a headache for the people. So
Right.
that's why I taken that route.
Nice. That's awesome. So prior to this hackathon, you said you had some experience with Inspect.
Not exactly with Inspect. I used HF as an infrastructure automation tool just for
Mm-hmm.
provisioning, creating some cloud infrastructure, VM creation and all. So whenever Chef that name comes, even now also nowadays I am recommending to customer Chef Inspect as a compliance as a code. Uh,
Nice.
First question, no, we don't use Chef. We use Terraform for automation, or we use Ansible for automation. Then I
Yeah.
need to explain why Chef Inspect, even though you use provisioning the other technology, how you can leverage this component. So that
Mhm.
awareness is very important, I think. I felt it is very useful, at least for many of the customers. It's compliance as a code is a really helpful aspect.
Awesome. So while you were out experiencing technical difficulties, we talked to Dan because Dan was a judge, and he
Okay.
talked about how because he always talks about your project like as one of his favorites.
Thank
And
you.
Dan,
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know if Ambily got to hear your compliments. So if you don't mind,
Yeah, no, I can totally. I mean, I can re-compliment Ambly again. It's not a problem. Um, it was so like there were obviously lots of entries, and then we got down to I think about 16 or 20 entries, and there were entries that were simple, straight to the point, and then there were other ones that were like, "Hey, I've built this entire build system, and then this other thing, and I was like, whoa, where do I start with this? Where do I start judging this? How do I know if it does what it says on the tin?" And then I got to Amberley's, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I can see how it would do that," and then I could see how it's implemented, and it was super easy to judge because it did one thing really well, and it was very concise. It was rather than some of the data platforms we've had, which are in themselves incredibly impressive. This was just like, right, I just like have a GitHub action to run inspec against Azure. Like, okay. And I read the code and I was like, oh, I understand this. This is a hole we don't like. This is plugging a hole that the community don't have as a whole. And this is exactly what we wanted to do is have like someone come in and can create something for everyone else to take away at the end of the day. And this is super reusable. I wonder if I can find the GitHub action actually in a second. But it was like, well, now the community is better off for the hackathon long term because we've now got a GitHub action that we could like anyone could pick up and use in spec against Azure. Like that was a thing that was doable before, but now it's much easier. So
Thank
that's
you.
cool.
Thanks.
Oh, I've got
Thanks.
a bunch of people from LinkedIn, so I'm gonna pause a second and say hi to everybody. How's it? How's everyone going? I can't actually type to LinkedIn because LinkedIn's API is having some fun at the moment. But hey, how you all doing?
Hey,
Must be Ambily KK's fan club because
gotta
I
be.
everyone's
just posted in LinkedIn.
brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah. So I have some connects who are explicitly enjoying the DevOps area. So a lot of people are doing the DevOps as main activities. So
Nice.
some people connect there. So
Right, because
really, the team, whoever joined from the community, who are doing the DevOps journey, Chef Inspect is really helpful. It's a I didn't seen any alternative thing, and it's a even I don't know Ruby, frankly speaking, Ruby scripts, but the way it's like a normal English, which
right,
gives a brief kind of English language. So I can simply write it. Anyone who is thinking about that logic constraints, it's fine. It's very quick learning. No need to spend hours of time on Ruby and everything and come back and develop it. It's a
exactly,
straightforward thing. That's very helpful.
exactly. Yeah, you don't even need to know Ruby in order.
Yeah,
Yes, even I don't know. I don't know, but I've written some test based on Ruby.
that's
Mm-hmm.
cool.
So
I was just going to actually show the code in action because maybe not in action because I haven't got some compliant. I haven't got Azure to test it against at the moment. But this is literally the meat and the bones of it, and it's super simple. It's just like make sure we've got all of the environment variables set first of all because this happens a lot when you're going around and you're using inspec against Azure or AWS. You don't often set you might forget to set environment variables. Like this is now like required as put inputs, and then like let's go grab him inspec, um, and then if you've got a compliance profile,
Nice.
and then run it as well. Run it with accepting the license, which is cool. Um, but yeah, it's and then like this is probably the most logic we've got in it, and that's beautiful because if you don't need any logic, that means it's like there's less to test for a start, which is quite nice.
Exactly.
And that's basically it. Like that is the long and the short of the whole hackathon entry. It's beautiful because it doesn't need to do a lot. Like
Right.
like why make that more complicated than it needs to be? I think that was the one thing that I really liked. Um,
So, Ambily, how long did it take you from like the idea generation to the last line of code or submission?
So, as I mentioned initially, I was little hesitant to participate
Hmm.
because chef is infra, not my area, and again, I didn't felt that much interest. Then, because you quoted the different thing, I just googled what exactly initial interest is habitat. Even some of the community may not know. So, chef habitat is for application pipeline or deployment area. uh, I am yet to explore that area. I know I am working on other application deployment platforms, Azure DevOps, Jira, Jenkins, and everything. But this is a new entry. So I thought of exploring that first. Then I went ahead and Chef automate the dashboarding thing. I
Hmm.
remember one of our customers is building a dashboard by spending millions of rupees for just getting a dashboard out of all different DevOps tools. So Automate is linked to that, where you can have a single view from different areas, from infra deployment, application deployment. Then there I seen that complaints. So I remember my pain point on complaints. Then I went ahead and explored how the chef is helping in complaints area. So I spent a lot of time in that initial study and all. Once I finalized compliance, anyway, I have the use case already with me, that Excel sheets. So I thought I will go ahead and develop some of the things. Again, the next thought came is it's Ruby. So it's a new area. I may not able to do it. Uh, still I thought, okay, by looking at the scripts, let me try it out how I can automate. It will be useful for my team also. So
Mhm.
written the Ruby scripts, automated some of the test cases which I filled in the Excel.
Mhm.
uh, then the thought came, if I give this script to some of the other engineer to run, his time is a waste. He need to click or deploy or schedule the script. How I can integrate with my pipeline?
Mhm.
So went ahead. GitHub is mainly nowadays used. I went to the marketplace, searched for any of the actions available for integration. I haven't found anything. So then I thought, better I will try out. So the registration also I delayed. I taken the last minute registration because of all this one. Let it complete, then I think about a registering kind of thing. But it's a great experience. Uh, it's
Nice.
useful also for the teams.
For sure. So I guess in that regard, so we've talked to a couple of the winners, and some folks took the entire 6 weeks. Some folks took, like you took, like joined last minute. But I think overall, it seems like having the time, whether it's to contemplate whether or not you want to join, or to say, okay, I want to join, but let me think about my idea. It seems like the time period or the time frame that we had the hackathon in was a win. I think.
Yeah, the till the ideation, I think most of the time people spend time. Once the idea is there, coding or development may not take much time. Only
Yeah.
you need to streamline your idea, that's all. But still the time how you are going to achieve it, or what exactly which problem or identification of the problem is the main thing. Once you
Right.
identify the problem, go for the solution.
Right. Okay. Yep. That makes sense. So I'm assuming that I know the answer to this question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. So, what's your favorite CI/CD tool and why? Mm.
Okay, I can't name anything specific right now, even though I am using GitHub and Azure DevOps are the main orchestrators I'm using, but it won't stand itself. If I take any of the end-to-end DevOps setup, minimum 20 tools are there. You need a code
Yeah.
analysis tool, you need a infrastructure tool, policy as code, another tool, compliance as code as your chef inspect comes there. So it's a combination of many tools. At the same time, you need to decide what exactly my tool strategy. It
Mhm.
should not be like every alternative person is using their own requirement or their own tools. So, as an organization level, better to consolidate and come up with a tool strategy, but it won't be a single tool. Main orchestrator will be there, one. At the same time, integration with multiple tools will help you to establish the DevOps or DevSecOps. Now, security is a built in part, so it should be there.
Awesome. Yep. I 100% agree. But if you had to call one, I would assume it was GitHub Actions.
Yeah,
What do you
sure.
is that true? Is that the one you generally go with? GitHub Actions?
GitHub is yet too matured from my experience angle. Azure DevOps is more mature. GitHub is just entered, even though repo is there from long time. The actions came recently. It's fine, but still some of the other part, DevOps start with the requirement or project management till the deployment. So many other parts, it's said to mature. They are releasing the beta products. We are trying it. Yeah,
Nice.
it takes a little more time to say GitHub is a complete end-to-end product. Repo ankle and pipeline ankle, yeah, GitHub
Mhm.
is good.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Um, hold So, what about your preferred IDE? Because those you can like pretty much,
Great.
that can vary
From
from person to person.
my day-to-day professional work, I am most of the time in PowerPoint and VCO. It's a solution architect work.
Oh
So
Yeah.
yeah.
we prepare the decks and present it, ideate and approaches kind of thing. But Visual Studio Code is my favorite idea,
Hmm.
um, where I do most of the coding and everything. I hope most of the community is also using Visual Studio Code, more and more
Yeah.
integrations and everything. That's the
Yeah.
best thing.
Yep.
See, my guess would have been Vim or Emacs there, because like you've come from a COBOL world and that kind of stuff. So I'm like, you're like, is there someone else hanging on to Vim? I also use Vim quite a lot still.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not holding it against you.
We're not holding it against you, Dan.
We're not space
We
Dan.
are, Dan. We are judging you, Dan. We're not.
That's awesome. Oh, so you touched on the fact that you published some a few books. Like, do you mind talking about those and possibly sharing links that I can share to the community?
Okay, the last book is with a press, that is a publishing company. It is on Azure DevOps. So let me pull the link. I hope I have it with me.
That's awesome. Like, it's not often that I'm, in the presence of a published author, you know. That's pretty good.
So I just posted postmark. So and I have a set of my articles in Symbol Talk. That is one of the thing from our Red Hat. So I write for them. So I have some articles there,
Awesome. Oh, and
and I
that's
have
the
some
art.
articles on Quad Project, and also it's all that details are there in my LinkedIn. So I captured everything there.
Okay. Awesome. We will definitely be on the lookout. If so, what inspired that? Like, what inspired, so there's one thing to be an engineer, it's another thing to be like a thought leader in the space, right? And it seems like that's kind of the direction that you are taking. What inspired that?
So the writing. So I started my blogging for myself. It's whenever I encounter an issue, what's the solution? Sometimes I forgot after 1 year. Again, I may encounter the same issue. I need somewhere to
Yeah.
blog it. So that's the initial area where I start blogging. uh, I hope the same case with you people also. You may encounter the same issue after 1 year. You remember I resolved, but what may be the solution I given, we may not able to recall it.
Oh, it's the worst thing when you're like, and like that kind of speaks to as well open source. When you don't do things open source or you move company, you're like, I'm pretty
Ah,
sure I've written this code before, but I don't know what I wrote. Like, can I
right.
like the blog posts are a great way of like signposting you how you got somewhere, which is quite
That's
nice.
like, yeah, your thought journey, which is like being able to document that and look back at it, even if, you might think at the time that you're looking back at it, oh my God, what was I thinking? Because that's very possible. But it's still a great way to like save in the future. It's like helping out your future self, if nothing else.
Yeah,
You
it's
think about
correct.
it. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's very great. So let's see. I do have a couple of other questions for you. So I know that you said that this wasn't your first hackathon. You do hackathons, or you have done hackathons in the past. So how does this one compare to other hackathons that you've been a part of? Like as far as being virtual, like let's talk about, the hackathons in the past. Were they in person, and kind of let's talk about that.
I have attended most of the things virtual only. In
Mhm.
person, no, I am not able to recall anything. sorry, I have attended one with Microsoft when they released VSTS that time.
Mm-hmm.
There is a uh, event even in Bangalore they organized. We all traveled. Initial multiple levels are there. It's like they initially screened the people. At the end, last event is happened in Bangalore. So that's a different kind of thing. It's exploration of the features and presenting that kind of area, not developing a altogether new entity. And the remaining hackathons, I am being into hackathons in TCS. We as TCS culture, we drive a lot of hackathon. Even I have been a part of defining the hackathon problems, where most of the time we went with the problems are algorithmic problems.
Mm-hmm.
That's easy to evaluate. You can set the automatic test cases and automatically evaluate and find who is the better person. So AI based as well as the C sharp multiple language based hackathons.
Mm-hmm.
Then the experience, as I mentioned, lockout platform, Criyashow and QuickBase, both are lockout platform. Just for learning purpose, I attended. Luckily, I got some gift, so that's learning plus getting something is obviously it's a great achievement. So Criyashow, I spent around 3 weeks time. It's a low-code platform. It's a great platform where you don't need to do any coding. Everything is through configuration, integration. You need only that logic mindset, how the integrations are worked, what kind of security you can do, basic authentication or authentication kind of thing. And I'm able to create a connector with another system and pulling the data between CRM and the other system kind of thing.
Oh,
So it's
nice.
a experience, but there is no coding. Chef
Right.
Inspect is completely a different experience. At least I am able to give something to the community, so the action can be reused or someone can fork and enhance the action and go back and do it. And as part of the action, I have another repo where the assure compliance test, basic tests are available. People can contribute and make it as a complete test repository for the community. So the experience is completely different. I enjoyed it, really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Awesome sauce. That's great to hear. Um, I think that, and Dan, or either, Dan or Ambily, correct me. Um, I think that if we are able to do another hackathon, which I think we are planning on doing another one, right, this year.
Yeah.
It would be great if we were able to do it in a hybrid, or if we were to have a hybrid approach to it. Like, and I'm not sure, for COVID reasons, we may not be able to have like the hackathon be a hybrid event, but um, ideally we would be able to have that because the whole idea generation piece we would be able to have folks in house for, like, you know meet your buddy. I mean, and if you are not local, you can also do that virtually as well. But just have the opportunity for people to come in and like just brainstorm together. Because I think that's the part that's missing in virtual hackathons. Is just
Yes.
having folks able to have that idea generation session together.
Yes. Yes, it's correct actually. It's not
Mhm.
only idea generation angle, it's a community. You are getting a chance to mingle with multiple people, their experience, getting know that handshake between the people is very important. It brings to another levels.
Mhm.
Maybe they join a next hackathon or they continue that relationships and everything.
Mhm.
So
Exactly.
obviously, getting to know the more people, understanding what's their experience from where they are coming up, it's really a great experience. Obviously,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Hackathons are fun.
yeah, really,
Yeah, I think we're always surprised by what comes out, and I like the uncertainty as a judge and as someone kind of like announcing the hackathon and helping it run it, going like, cool. So we'll have some people enter. and then you have no idea what people are gonna submit or like even contemplate submitting, and you see the numbers of people go up and up and up and up and up, and you're like, so like, are these people real? Because I think they had like
Right.
600 people, 600 projects on there at one point, and then it was slimmed down to 20. It was mad. And then that's really exciting to see those numbers go up, because you're like, well, people are taking some time to register for the project and then take a look around, and then may or may not come up. But I like that low entry point into it. Like, you haven't got to go into a room with a bunch of people, and then
Right.
like walk in and be like, "Hi, I don't know anything. Can I help?" The answer is always yes. By the way, if you don't know anything, you totally do know something.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah, it's
And
always
then
good.
you ask the
Hope
question.
you, hope you people will plan in Bangalore or India some locations. We can participate from here also.
Yes.
Looking forward for that.
I
That'd
suspect
be
we
awesome.
will.
Yep.
That is really great.
Yes. So yeah, because we're actually so we're supposed to have like a developer advocate in that area in India. So like once we do, like I think we'll have a lot more, content that's in the time zone and all of that, like and local types of things that happen once we are able to be in person again. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Cool. So that was my last question for you, Ambily. Is there anything else Dan, any questions that you want to ask, or any call outs, Ambily, that you want to just shout out before we wrap it up or for the evening for you, morning for me, and afternoon for Dan? That was long.
Right.
That's great. Dan,
Awesome.
any questions from you?
No, thank you very much, though. It's been great having you on.
It has
Thank
been
you.
great having you on. Congratulations on your win. And thank you from the community and from us, for your contribution, because I feel like this is going to be used. Like it's one thing to have something that wins, is another thing to have something that folks actually will be able to use. So you got
Yeah.
both. It's great.
Yeah. That's
Mhm.
correct. Thank you. Thanks, Chef team. Actually, I am also going to explore further on Chef. I understand it's not only infra, the other areas I never explored, especially habitat is my next step. I really want to explore and come up with a comparison angle, what the other tools offer and habitat can offer, where I can propose it as part of my solutions, where can I fit these technologies. And also from a community angle, I am planning to have a DevOps channel kind of thing, where I am planning to share my experience about complete DevOps angle. And obviously, Chef will be one of the entries I am planning out. Inspect
Cool.
is as of now. Once I explore habitat, I am planning one video at least on the habitat also.
Oh,
Brilliant.
Thank
nice.
you.
Should be
So
cool.
if you would, yeah, I mean, let us know. We would be happy to join. Mm.
Sure, obviously.
Yeah.
Once I am just in the preparation of the initial videos, that is on the process and people angle. And specific to technology area, I will be getting into the next round. So I will obviously share once I am ready with the different videos.
Great, great. We look forward to it.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you everyone that has joined us out there in the metaverse. I'm just gonna say the metaverse, even though like I'm preparing.
You're doing it. You're doing it already. Yeah.
I'm
Brilliant.
preparing.
Yeah.
Cool. And we will see you all. Wait, what we do next Tuesday? Stay tuned.
What did I have scheduled? Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah,
Let's see. Let's see. I'll be
next week
on.
I'm out. So
I think I might be doing a piece on CentOS 8 end of life.
there you go.
Probably.
Perfect timing. Cool.
I had to fix that.
There you go. There you go. So tune in to the Dan Show on Tuesday. Boom. All right,
Cool.
guys. Bye.
Catch you later. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Thank you all.